All right, so tell me this. If you had to boil it down to the number one thing you've gotten from the gym, like the number one valuable thing you've gotten, what would you say it's been?
Confidence.
Wow, you said that with a lot of confidence. I love that. Like,
I
like you
had
really
to
came at me
build
with the
it up,
confidence there. I think
you
you're
know.
definitely telling the truth.
I had to build it up. No, for sure, confidence. Because like, before I went to the gym, I had such like, I don't know, body issues with myself. Even though like, I'm not big or anything like
Yeah,
to say, but lifting weights and stuff like that, and seeing like muscles come through and looking more defined, and
yeah, absolutely.
it's it's different altogether.
Yeah, 100%. I think what you're getting at there is the idea of progression and growth, and
Yeah,
the idea that like you start off as something, and no matter
yeah,
what that is, whether you feel like you're a bit too skinny, or if you feel like you're too overweight, or whatever you
yeah,
feel like it is, the idea that you start off as something, and that through your own hard work and through discipline and through giving up stuff and through implementing new regimes, that
yeah.
you actually end up with a different result, and the idea that like you can actually change your life, you can change your like
Legit.
everything about
Like,
yourself. Like it's crazy.
it's obviously, doesn't happen in a day. You obviously got to work for it. With the help of you, of course. You push me, you've got me in the gym. You just helped me greatly in that aspect. And then, fucking putting in the hard work. It's hard. It
Yeah,
ain't fucking
absolutely.
easy.
And what would you say about somebody who's like let's say if somebody's watching now who like might be inexperienced in the gym and they're walking in and they're like, okay, everyone's gonna be looking at me, they're gonna be
Mm.
so afraid. Like, what would you say
Oh,
is true about
I
that?
used to think the exact same, but literally nobody gives a fucking shit. Like everyone is there to focus on themselves. They're not looking at you. The only time I look at a person in the gym is to be in like how much is on their fucking deadlift, how many plates are
Yeah,
they
like it's
lifting,
impressive. Like you're looking at
like you're
somebody
looking
like,
at someone in an impressive manner. It's not like, oh,
and even the people who you see like aren't doing light stuff, just the fact that people are in there, like there's
yeah,
this like belief that like everybody who's in that room is there for a reason. That like no
facts.
matter where you are in that journey, no matter how strong you are or how weak you are, you're in the room. Like
Like,
you're making progress. Like you're taking the initiative, that
yeah,
first step. So like in our last video, we were talking about that idea that the first and hardest thing about anything is like make that
make
first
that for
jump.
yeah,
And like
facts.
the idea, like with the same as with the gym, like it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be this idea of, oh, people are gonna be watching me, or oh, I'm not gonna be able to do heavy weight, or oh, I'm not
No,
gonna look great
man,
in my clothes, whatever. It does not
it
matter.
doesn't
What matters is
fucking
that you
yeah,
get your ass in that gym and you
yeah,
start working. Because
yes,
I remember like starting off with you, and I remember even like when we first were like friends 2 years ago,
yeah.
you were very shy. You were like very quiet.
Oh,
Like I remember the good old days where you were like
yeah.
so afraid to say anything, and now you have no
Man.
problem giving it right back to me.
Yeah.
Like, but
Oh, when I
it's
first met you, I used to be so like intimidated. I was like, oh shit.
yeah, by
I would,
skinny old me. Yeah.
yeah, but like I wouldn't look you in the eyes. You're like, you have like a different aura around you. That like you do bring that like intimidating, kind of aspect.
For any of you back home, you will put a poll in the comments now if I'm intimidating or if
No,
everybody's
but
scary
like
to see me.
when I got to know you, you're
Yeah.
obviously fucking not. I have no
Okay.
problem fucking saying shit back. I have no
No.
problem looking you dead in the eyes and fucking giving cheek or
I've
whatever.
I've watched your confidence go from like a very low level to like a crazy high level now. Like
Crazy.
I haven't seen you be afraid of like very much in a long time, to be
Oh,
honest. I mean, even look at us now. Like
yeah.
2 years ago, you wouldn't have believed that we were like gymming every day,
No.
doing a podcast,
No.
talking about like kind of life experience stuff. I mean, we didn't even have any life experience to share, and
Two
now
years ago, me wouldn't believe I'd be right here fucking doing this shit.
I'm telling you though, but like I could see it from day one. Like every time I've ever said to you, oh, let's go do this, or oh, like would you be like would you want to try this? I have never met somebody who's been more willing to like just try it head on. You
Yeah.
like because that's exactly who I am. Like no matter like I can remember this like ever since I was young. Like no matter what it was or like whatever people wanted to do, if you gave me that idea, let's go for it. Let's
Yeah, fuck it.
try it. Like
Like,
let's give
come
it a shot.
on.
So it's really cool to see someone else like that. And like I think that's probably why I was so eager to like help you in your journey and try to like share that experience, because I'm not a licensed PT or anything like that. I've trained with a lot of different people because in my own life I kind of bring an intensity and a sort of like level of ruthlessness with myself that I feel like people who train with me like wanted a piece of that. Like
Yeah,
anybody who like trained
yeah,
with me, like they wanted to
yeah.
have those kind of sessions. It's like I don't know where it comes from, or like maybe it's like self hate or whatever it is, but this idea of just I'm gonna push myself to the absolute max, even if it
No,
breaks me,
but like
because what
it's
else is there to
crazy though
do?
because when I see you pushing yourself to like the highest, I'm just there like I need to go harder. I need to do the exact
Yeah.
same. I need to be on the same level.
That's what it is,
I
because
need
I
to
had people
push
who inspired
myself.
me to do that too. But
Yeah.
it's crazy because so many people talk about the idea of like unrealistic, like heroes or like unrealistic standards for people to meet. And I feel like in terms of like guys and girls, it's different, right? Because with guys, we like want those role models who we could never achieve the like success of. I'm telling you, all my role models growing up were anime characters. I have wanted the physique of Goku. I've wanted the like the strength of like Vegeta. I've wanted like the different characters. Like
Jeez.
my characters, I could never be that. But at the same time, like it never once bothered me,
Yeah.
and I always wanted that. Whereas I feel like a lot of the time you hear about like unrealistic beauty standards in like the beauty
Oh, for
industry and stuff like
women,
that.
it's so like toxic and shit.
I would say so too. I
It's
think like it's
very
definitely like
because like a lot of the time, like you see on Instagram, it's all fake. They're
oh
all
100
edited to
percent.
fuck, and it's all that. It's all noise. Block it out.
Even
Focus
with
on
guys though
yourself.
too, like it's all filters. Like I even
Yeah,
know
yeah,
myself,
yeah.
like I have a decent physique, but there's like some pictures that I
Yeah,
have
when
where
you
it's
get the
like,
lighting right and shit, it's
oh,
like
I'm telling you, you get that lighting right, you get a nice little filter, you bring the shadows up just a little
just
bit,
a
you
little
bring the
bit.
the lighting or the exposure down. I'm telling you, like there's a whole art to it. So
Yeah.
if you're somebody who is looking at Instagrams and you're looking at these people and you're saying, oh, I couldn't have that, like trust me, Instagram is not the place to like look at people's bodies.
No, man.
Like you'll meet those same people in the street and you're like, whoa,
Who the fuck are
you
you?
look so different. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure people see me like after
Man.
like some of my Instagrams when they see me, they're like, oh, okay, like you're like this.
Oh,
You know
you're
what I
mid,
mean?
man.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
don't worry
mid.
about
Like,
it.
but no, like I think who you have as a role model is very important. But like, I think sometimes it's good to have role models that you can't maybe reach the level of, or like just to
Yeah.
know that there's some like you don't want it to be too easy to beat your heroes or to something like that.
Facts,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's so
Like an
cool.
anime character, and unrealistic,
Oh, like
not even fucking.
anime characters are so designed to just be like the most unrealistic. Like
Yeah.
it'll always based around like this one main character who has no powers, or like it'll be set in a world right where everybody either has some power or has some like unique ability, and the MC will always have just nothing. Like there'll always be this one person who has no ability, but they have like this absolute resolution and like they have all the
The
heart in the
undying
world.
will, like to
Oh,
fuck
and
it.
then next you know, like they somehow get the same power, and then they're like way stronger than everybody else. But just the idea of that, like you start off as nothing,
Yeah.
you progress, and through your hard work, you can become something, and like after that, then you see those results that nobody else had. So sometimes starting from behind is actually better because you have that extra incentive to work. You know that like, okay, if I don't push myself 100 times harder than everybody else, I'll never get those results. And you know what? That's probably where a lot of my training kind of principles came in because you've like what I what I train about like and like how it
Yeah.
is for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't really count like reps per se or like sets. It's just intensity. Like can you
Yeah.
push yourself
Yeah.
in like the darkest place for as long as possible, you know? But I've seen how your training has changed because of it. I have seen you pull out reps and like crazy sets and just like throwing it back. I mean, even
Like,
dislocating your shoulder in the gym.
oh,
Crazy. Like, but
that
look at us
pain,
now.
like,
We're still here training. We're still like going for
yeah.
it and still like pushing it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are watching, it wasn't because of my training. Danielle has popped her shoulder like
Hey.
4 times.
Yeah,
Four
yeah,
times.
yeah.
And the last time was we were doing shoulder workout or whatever, and we were going too hard. But like
Yeah.
that's the journey. Like you get hurt. You
Listen,
like
fuck it.
I mean, I broke my heel like 3 or 4 years ago now. And before I broke my heel, my squat was like 70 at best. Like I was squatting 70 kilograms. And then after I broke my heel, like I had that fear of like I didn't want to break it. But the bigger fear was I didn't want to just be like a bitch and like not push
That's
myself
how I
because
feel
of
right
it.
now.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna find a way to push myself even harder. And now my squat, like my best squat ever was 180 for 10. And like they weren't the cleanest reps, and I'm willing to say that. That's fine.
Yeah,
but like
fair.
it's the
But
idea of it's a
yeah.
scary weight to get under, and it's like I'm gonna put
That's
myself
100 more
under.
than what I do.
I mean,
Like that's crazy.
I think like some of like the like for example, like for training, like legs was like definitely the exercise or the body I didn't want to train like the most. Like I didn't like doing legs, and then I forced myself. I was like, you know what? I just can't be one of these guys who's gonna skip leg day. It's just
they hurt like
if
a
it's
bitch though.
yeah, I know like it's hack squat and like those quad extensions and everything.
Ooh.
Oof, they will burn your legs. But
Man.
there's something about doing the stuff that other people aren't willing to do that's just so rewarding and so like cool in itself as well. But one thing I'd love to like just promote for people out there is if you are somebody who's afraid of going to the gym, that is okay. Like it is 100% okay to be
I'm
afraid.
scared of going to the gym by myself. That's why I go with you. Like.
Exactly. And I remember like in like coaching you has been really good for me and like learning how to coach people because like when I was pushing you and I was like, okay, what's gonna work? Is like when I realized that being over your shoulder every 5 seconds wasn't enough, I was like, okay, go by yourself. Overcome that fear of like people watching you or people caring what you're doing. Like
I still try and go by myself, but I still get that like that feeling that like it's like it's shit almost. It's not as enjoyable. Like I feel like for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. It's a different thing to train with friends than it is to train like in your own kind of by
because
yourself.
I know when I'm with you, you're gonna push me to be better. But then when I go myself, I'm just kind of a little bit more lenient, and I won't really go as hard.
Absolutely.
So like
and that's the benefit of having someone to go with you. Like just like even when I train with Mark, like Mark is a close friend of mine who's trained as long as I have and is as hard as I have as well. But even when we come together, like there's that different level of competition, a different level of like pressure where it's like what was okay by myself is no longer like okay, like I have to push myself that much harder. But for anybody who is afraid to go to the gym, it's okay to be afraid. But what's not okay is to like let that fear run you. Like courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the overcoming of that fear. Like, you know, like you can't be courageous unless you're afraid in the first place. So my best advice to anybody who wants to go to the gym or wants to improve themselves is understand that you're going to start off at the bottom. You're going to start off as a beginner. You're not going to have an idea of what you're doing at first, but take the steps you need to.